round 1. And this hand is okay. It's a bit land heavy for an 18 land deck, but you know, we've got some 1-drops, got a Bushwhacker and a Bolt. It's fine. So when you sit down with a deck like this, you know, there are some things you never want to see on the other side of the table. And I have to say, the thing I want to see the least when I'm playing this deck is planes, but not Warfalcon. That's relatively okay. I was about to say like forest into Bogle, indicating that there might be some armadillo cloaks in the wings, but so this is a white weenie, which is presumably what this is what's happening here, unless this is some sort of non-white weenie knight soldier deck. So I actually think I'm just gonna let that trade, since I think I want to keep Mog Raider around. Like, I could have sacrificed the Mog Raider to keep it alive and leaving me with like a cohort and conscripts. But if they're making like a bunch of 2/2s, then if I draw like a War Marshal or something, then it could be quite good. Sunlands? Alright. So I guess this could be some kind of nightmare matchup. Especially, you know, at 4 lands, we really don't have that much going on. I'm not even gonna try and like bolt Bushwhacker and that sort of thing. We need to, if we're gonna win this game, I think what needs to happen is get like a really big Bushwhacker turn in, since they're still on 20. They're suspending Knight of Circe, Sunlancing me. Wow. Well, I wasn't expecting, you know, 4 1-mana interactive things, and this is sort of unfortunate, since you know there's, well, if we'd drawn this the other way around, that would have been quite decent, but unfortunately not. So then we could have just, you know, Death Sparked the Water Falcon on turn 2, got stuck in, started buying it back. But I think we can make it do some work this game, assuming we draw at least a few creatures. This is a soldier. I could have killed Doom Traveler to prevent it from attacking, but I think we need to deal with this at some point anyway. It sort of buys me a bit more time. It's sort of weird to think that I'm going to be moving into like a control role here, but I think that might be the case, since I'm not beating them up effectively. And I have a Death Spark, which seems like it should be quite good against them. So the important thing is that I can't use my Lightning Bolt before something else dies, because I need to be able to buy back this Death Spark. Now I can let Mog War Marshal die in order to force something, like force the creature to be on top of the Death Spark to buy it back the following turn. But if we're going to be grinding them out, you know, the 1/1 on War Marshal is a real card too, so. Well, time to attack, I think. Do they want to trade for Mog War Marshal? Just trading for Goblin, that's fine. What a bizarre game to open up with. I mean, this is classic Magic, right? White weenie against goblins. So obviously they're attacking us a little bit here, but hopefully if I draw a creature and I can like do some bushwhacking, I can maybe force them to block and trade with stuff, and then get the Death Spark back and so on. Journey to Nowhere. Okay. Hmm. Another reason to sort of slow roll Lightning Bolt, not only just to keep Death Spark a valid draw, is that presumably we have more reach than they do. We have Fire Blasts and more bolts to draw, and more Bushwhackers, which makes us a bit more explosive if we come to a racing situation. I mean, I'm not married to this Death Spark or anything. If we start getting way too low, and like if you just draw another brick next turn, and we're gonna get our face rearranged by these white creatures, I can bolt this so they can't attack. Loyal Cathar, all right. Yeah, this does seem like a pretty miserable matchup. Sparksmith, a bit slow, but it might be the hero we need. I'm just going to attack with this cohort, since while it can block, they might just not attack with Loyal Cathar. We do need to get some damage in. We also sort of want to reduce the amount of goblins we have in play, weirdly enough, so we don't just get totally destroyed by our own Sparksmith. So the problem, though, is that white has so many absolutely bananas cards against red. Like, they can have like prismatic strands. For example, they can like board in Crimson Acolyte. They, can play like just lifelink creatures, like creatures with huge toughness. And they already main decking all these Sunlances and Journey to Nowheres. So it seems like we're a similar deck, except our creatures are a bit smaller. I mean, there's probably a bit more of them, but they're also making tokens too, so... Ooh, that's pretty miserable for us also. Didn't attack with War Falcon, which is good for us, I think. We have now lost the Death Spark, which is a shame. Maul Grader, alright. Time to play that so we can do some attacking. Depending on how they block it, I can use the Raider to rearrange things. We also sort of want to get them to 4, so then we can like top deck a Fire Blast at some point. So there's a potential for Mulgrader sacrificing Bushwhacker to just deal an extra couple of an extra damage, put them to 6. But I don't know. I think we can grind through things. So And then next turn we can, block the returning zombie with Goblin token. All these Squadron Hawks, though, are going to be real annoying, since we can't possibly kill them all. Ouch. Because it's going to deal us 4 damage over the next couple of turns anyway. Well, I guess I don't think we drew terribly badly here. We just had a kind of a start which is weak to this draw. Cool Horde, that's not going to do it, so let's skip them up. Wow, the White Weenie matchup, not something that you expect all that often. I think Fire Blast's going to be pretty terrible. Electricity should be quite good. And I actually think like Life Staff will be quite fine here also. Like if you're having to Sparksmith them out, Life Staff seems like it should be quite good. It helps us trade up against 2/2s. But I think this matchup would be quite bad in general. I don't think we can afford to bring out like any of the creatures. Alright, let's go. Alright, going first. And seems totally acceptable to me. So looking back on that first game, it seems like the turn where I didn't sacrifice War Marshal by failing to pay Echo was a big turning point because I overestimated how my ability to trade a 1/1 ground creature for something. It turns out I wasn't able to do that. Thus, it was just a bad option. And from there, I was unable to make something die. Thus, I didn't get to reuse Death Spark, which would have given me an out. Acacian Javelineers, well, they're classic. Have to Lightning Bolt that. Otherwise, it's just gonna kill off by like Sparksmith. I mean, I guess I didn't have to because I could have like played Slider and made them use the counter and then sacrificed something to save Slider or Sparksmith. But if they just didn't use it, or they used it and then played Core Skyfisher to return it to their hand, that would have been pretty miserable for me. So I thought I'd be at least mana efficient. War Falcon. Hope it doesn't punch me now. So we actually have a couple of options. Like we can play Sparksmith and then attack or not attack. You can play like War Marshal and attack or not attack. Or we can just play Heel Cutter and get stuck in for 6. Which doesn't sound too bad. So, because I sort of feel like Sparksmith might die anyway. Well, I think I'll force them to have a removal for Sparksmith. I'm not going to endanger the Slider since one card that's quite common in white creature deck sideboards is Holy Light. And that gives -1/-1 to all non-white creatures, which is pretty brutal. But by making sure the Slider is alive, it can save the Sparksmith, and then Sparksmith just as a pinger should be quite good. Yep, there's some lands. Like I say, I did expect them to have something, but Might as well pump this slider. Can't think of any particular reason that this will matter, but you never know. Bone Splitter. I actually think, I mean, that's generally a good card for the white weenie deck, obviously. It's even not a bad choice for this deck, but I think it is a bad choice in this matchup. I think it should probably be boarded out of their deck at this point, since having seen cards like Sparksmith and Death Spark and all that sort of thing, it should be fairly obvious that like their creature, and also because their creatures are better than mine, so all they really need to do is not have all their creatures die, and their creatures are already good enough. Like the Bone Splitter effect isn't that valuable in this matchup, and like the way they're most likely to lose is by just not having enough creatures. But, I mean, it is just a good card in general. They might just have one in their deck, which seems fine. That's a shame. But it's alright. We're getting ready to rumble. We need to be able to, you know, do at least one block on Heel Cutter here, but on the other hand, we'll be ready with Slider. No blocking with the Loyal Cathar. And this guy's pretty beefy this turn. Oh, they're not even trying to block the Heel Cutter. I approve. I'll let this trade, I think. Yeah, I could sack. And plenty of scope to top deck some lightning bolts or something like that. So things are looking fairly good, but like I say, they are white. They have potentially some awesome sideboard cards against us, so you can never be too confident. I expect to be playing Echo again, and I expect it will actually be a good idea this turn, but you never know. Yep, not too much we can do about that. And we can sacrifice it to put it into our graveyard. I can't think of any particular reason why that matters, but I might as well, right? It is worth noting, however, if we're in a situation where we have like less creatures in play, or fewer creatures, we can, like, let's say that they have Loyal Cathar, Journey to Nowhere is being cast, and we just have a Slider. We can just sacrifice Slider in response to Journey being cast, and this is not a me ability, so they would need to exile their own creature. Alright, so if we jam in with Heel Cutter, didn't mean to click that, but now they know we have drawn a blank. So if we jam in with everything, then they can trade with Heel Cutter and then put them to 4, which isn't that useful. So I actually think we might want to not attack this turn. I also, like, I'm sort of slightly tempted to just cast it, but I think it's a safer in my hand, and we've drawn, you know, 6 lands, which is more than necessary. They probably have some creatures to play, which will probably make our situation worse over time, but so we can like take 6, or we can trade for this. I think I'd rather keep all my guys alive in case I draw a Bushwhacker. Lone Missionary, that's... Honestly, I don't think we care about that one that much. I mean, gaining 4 is annoying. I'm much more concerned about something that gains first strike, to be honest. There's not a whole lot we can do with this. I think I'll just hold it some more. Hope to draw some things and surprise kill them somehow. At least by like holding back mystery cards in our hand, we at least threaten that we might have something good happening, but we are actually being beaten up by random creatures now, so we need to start trading off our War Marshal. And at least the leftover Goblin will threaten to trade with Lone Missionary, even though it will never attack. The next order of business will be getting rid of this, but I think we need to draw Death Spark and leverage it somehow. But I think we're in a real bad spot. There's not a whole lot we can do with 7 lands. Mog Reader. Well, I suppose we are open to drawing Electrickery. So we need to get ourselves into the best situation possible where we can draw that and not die instantly to Knight of Circe. Okay, so given that we're dead to anything other than the top deck, then we lose if we don't draw anything other than Electrickery. We need to block as much as possible. Like, we think we need to block this thing, because that's otherwise it's gonna, you know, deal us 4. So we're already taking 6 in the air. Yeah, I think we actually need to just throw everything under the bus. Take 6, go to 3, then... No, we're still dead this game. Yeah, okay, so this is fine, since we can block and pump our heel cutter. And I say fine very loosely. Since we're almost definitely dead. Don't blame you if you now go on to the next video. We just got to play to our very slim outs. And part of that out includes our opponent just misplaying by not equipping a Bone Splitter. Ah well, now we're super dead. We're even more dead. Okay, now we learned a lesson there, actually. If you notice, even though we're dead, this is quite a good thing to note, that even though we were losing this game, Next time we should definitely just not sacrifice to Journey to Nowhere, because our opponent could have returned Journey to Nowhere to hand with this Skyfisher and just had a free Journey to Nowhere on us. So we learned our lessons. That means we're the moral victors.